Okay, well, welcome to Astreis Gaming Channel, where I'm putting on my first show, and I didn't want to do that with anybody other than HamSolo05 because he gave me my
Let's
first shot.
go.
So how you doing today, buddy? Thanks for coming.
Oh man, I'm doing fantastic. Just got done doing some shopping around for some more gaming equipment to add to my collection. Picked up an N64 today and I haven't got any games for it yet, so I haven't got to try it out, but I will be definitely getting into that soon.
You got any must-haves? Any N64 must-haves you're looking for?
Oh man, so I'm not sure how many people know about this game, but South Park Chef Love Shack. I want that game like right now.
That sounds amazing.
It is such a hilarious game. It's a like a talk show kind of game, but there's mini games in between the questions. And the talk show part, the questions are everything to do with like the show and stuff like that. So really funny questions, and then some of the mini games are just awful and very South Park like. So
That's
that
incredible.
would be my must game. I mean, my must play game for N64. Really random, but that's my joint.
I had no idea that existed.
Well, there you go.
My favorite N64 games were Cruisin' USA
Ooh, good one.
and
Well, everyone knows Mario 64, and
yeah,
and also like GoldenEye and Mario Kart. Diddy Kong Racing was pretty dope.
I am always between 360 and N64 for my favorite console generation.
Oh man, I tell you what, one game that I absolutely loved for the 64 that I'd like to maybe get, but I'm not sure how often I'd ever play it, is WrestleMania 2000 and also No Mercy.
Oh yeah.
I loved those freaking games. So what do
Well,
you got for us today, Brett?
well, I really wanted to have an opportunity to talk about a look back at the year 2021 because it was, at least in my opinion, a really bizarre gaming year, and then look forward into 2022 and talk about what some predictions we might have, things we're really excited about. Um, if we've got an inkling on any kind of surprises we might see, um, and then a few things here at the end that are just recent topics that I kind of want your opinion on, bud. So, starting
Let's
off,
go.
you made a really awesome video, and I want to plug this. I'm going to link it down in the description, um, and just let you kind of summarize and tease this video a little bit. You did a 1 year review of the Xbox Series X and the PS5. Um, and I want you to talk about that and tell me what you thought.
Yeah, man. I mean, I really enjoyed making that video. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people like that may follow me on Twitter that think I'm really, on the Xbox side, and I absolutely am. I love Xbox, but there is no such thing as a perfect console out there. Even if I was completely like on the PlayStation side, if I was the same person but PlayStation, I would still feel the same way I do about some of the issues I had with PlayStation. So, I mean, I tried to come at it as equal as possible without too much, foo-foo stuff for the other, like the one that I prefer. So like
Sure.
for instance, like the Xbox, like I really had an issue with the share system within that console. Like the media is not good. The way that um the controllers are like kind of coming out, like I'm hearing more than just me having issues with like stick drift. And I know this is more than just Xbox, but I mean, premium prices get premium reviews. So like I felt like I just decided to give my premium thoughts on that, and how I've had two controllers already in this last year and like 2 months, and I have drift on two of them already, and I'm not crazy with those. But I mean, on the PS5 side, I had, like, why is it so crazy getting into like a multiplayer chat, and why does that feel so like hard to deal with than it needs to be? And some of the settings are in weird placements for like some of the controller settings. They're like in two different spots, and rest mode, like, why isn't that fixed, and why is nobody talking about that?
That was
Like,
a day one
there
issue.
are yeah, that was a day one issue, and it's still an issue, and people are still like, one of the people I had an interview with, I'm not going to throw his name out there because I don't need the backlash for anything, but one of the people I did an interview with had his PS5 on rest mode, and went to go play it, and all his stuff was deleted, and he had to completely put his PlayStation back into the mode that you get it. Like, you had to like reset
Factory
everything.
reset.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you had to factory reset everything, and lost years of saves throughout his games. And I mean, to me, that is, I mean, the fact that he's still super diehard, for his squad is beyond me. Because if that happened to me on my favorite console, I would be livid.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, I don't know, like, that's why I said earlier, no console is perfect if you're looking for something perfect. But if you're willing to just like have fun but know that there are stuff that needs to be done, I say both of the consoles are awesome and worth having. But just be open minded and remember that, like I said earlier, nothing's perfect.
And we're early adopters too. I feel like on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, I have to continually remind people of that too. That we're in it to win it with a lot of these growing pains. That's just a part of the deal. When you get consoles and stuff right as they come out, they tend to break down more often, and they tend to, you have all the software issues, or hardware issues, whatever it happens to be, because you're part of the first, several million folks to get their hands on them and start breaking them.
Yeah, I hear it. Hardware is one thing, but when it's software, it's really frustrating because it's like, it doesn't matter what, version of the console you got, you're going to run into the same issue.
Well, and you have to know that they're prioritizing the issues that you're having. Like rest mode, for example, we're a year in, and you mentioned feeling like they're not prioritizing the fact that when I put my console in rest mode, I might lose everything.
Yeah, man, I just flat out don't do it. If they're not going to say something like, hey, well, I mean, they did say, hey, we're trying to figure out what's wrong with the issue, but I haven't heard much of anything else since then. And I'm definitely not trying to see for myself if they fixed it. I'm just going to leave rest mode off until then, and I'll just deal with shutting off my console on my own. It's not hard to do, to shut it off,
And
but
luckily,
it's
they
just
boot up
kind of,
quick.
yeah, and they boot up fairly fast as well. But I mean, you came out swinging with these statements of how fast it is, and rest mode, and how well it works, and that's a good chunk of the pie that ain't working, and it ain't really been addressed, and I think it's kind of weird.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Well, I want to talk to you about your favorite gaming moment of 2021, and I couldn't figure out another way to word this. So I I thought I would go first and give you an example of what my favorite gaming moment was.
Okay.
And for me, it was when I got that tweet from Xbox saying MLB The Show was going to be day one on Game Pass. I felt like that was such a this is how we share games moment. Like even though
Yeah.
it's not that way. Like obviously it came out later on that it was because MLB was the publisher, and MLB obviously doesn't care. They're like, Xbox wants to give us X millions of dollars to put this game on Game Pass day one. Sure, why not?
Oh, there was some shade there, though. There was some
Yeah,
shade.
but it was like when I first saw that, I was like, "What is happening? Like this has to be a mistake."
Yeah, everyone was like, Sony, how could you do this?
yeah, yeah.
And Sony was like, bro, don't shoot the messenger, man.
The fear was real.
Oh man, it was very interesting. Like I started looking, into the future a little bit and saying, well, Sony's making a game for, Xbox, and Xbox is making a game for Sony. Everyone's playing nice, but Twitter. That's the way I was looking at it.
Right. Twitter's never playing nice. That's not in the cards.
It's fun to watch though, from the outside. Once you get in the middle of it, you feel like an idiot. But
oh man, I'm better now, but I used to be bad at being being baited into every fanboy conversation I saw on Twitter.
oh, it's so easy. But if I were to go for my favorite moment, well, I have a really positive moment and I have a least favorite moment as well. My favorite moment was probably when Flight Sim hit Game Pass on the consoles. I thought that was just super cool that I was able to run this Xbox and see my old childhood house from my Xbox. I thought that was super cool because I used to do that kind of weird stuff on my PC when I was a little kid on the previous flight simulators, and they were nowhere near, I mean, all the houses were matted down, like everything was just like a big grid. There was no real, I mean, there was like mountains and like, heights to like buildings, to some buildings, but like the rendering was nowhere near as close. The stadiums and like downtowns did not look the same. So just going through my hometown and seeing the Husker Stadium and then driving over, a street that I used to take every day to go to work, and seeing my old high school and seeing my mom's house, like it just made me like really excited for what we got going forward. And then that actually pushed me to get an Oculus headset, and then I went on ahead and downloaded Flight Sim to my computer and hooked up the VR headset and played Flight Sim in VR. So then I got really up close and personal. So like it's a mixture of Game Pass and Flight Sim, just because I had the accessibility to try it on my Xbox, see if I like it, download it to my PC, purchase a VR headset, and really get into it for a little while. But my least favorite moment this year was The Ascent. That game disappointed the living hell out of me. And it was not because the game is bad. The game was actually really fun. I enjoy the gameplay of that game. But the fact that when I play co-op online with people, we would constantly crash. If I was playing with somebody that had a previous version of the Xbox, like Xbox One or Xbox One S or One X, the game would take a really long time to load in, which is, it's fair because, it's a slower console. But that was annoying. That was just one of the pet peeves. But the worst pet peeve of it all was I would be playing a level with people, and then whatever I had equipped on me, if we got kicked from that game, I ran the chance of losing everything that was on my character at that time.
No
And I could
way.
not, yeah, and I could not go to the store in the game to purchase it back. So like I didn't care about like how much it costed to get the item. I don't care if I had to go grind and buy it back. But not having the option to get or repurchase what I just worked through the game to get drove me mad. It drove me to the point that I didn't want to play the game. I was 3/4 of the way through. Could have beat it with the stuff that I got, but I just chose not to because I was just like, dude, I can't put time into this game if I can't enjoy it the way I want. I want to use this weapon that I earned, and I can't find it. I can't use it again because I was playing with a buddy. It lagged out, and I lost it forever.
It went
I'm
unfinished for
sure.
me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if I keep playing, I'll eventually get it back. But what I don't want to do is not enjoy playing just to get that back. You know what I mean? To enjoy it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that was something they
So
could have instituted once they realized that there were crashes happening where people were losing their equipment. That was huge in
yeah, I thought that
Outriders
was
too.
crazy.
People were losing their whole inventories, and it was
Oh right, you're right about that. And
months before
Outriders,
people got their stuff back.
yeah, Outriders had a really rough time getting out of the gates. I mean, they're doing a lot better now. In fact, I think they got some like maybe some DLC either coming or it's already arrived. But but that game's doing better than it was. The Ascent's doing better than it was, but I just don't. It already broke my trust. Like Outriders didn't break my trust. The Ascent broke my trust because even after I heard the game was fixed, I went back into the store. I re-downloaded the game, went back into the store, tried to see if I had my stuff on me or if I could rebuy that stuff, and I couldn't. And I immediately deleted the game right after that. I was just like, I'm not doing this.
I didn't understand because the Ascent came out shortly before I got my new laptop, and that was one of the games that I was really excited about trying to run on my laptop. Excuse me, where I wanted to play it through Game Pass, and the Steam version had DX12 Ultimate with ray tracing options and all that. But to get it on Game Pass or through the Microsoft Store, it didn't have any of that. It only ran on DX12, so you couldn't use all of those extra like visual scaling features. And so
Weird.
that was one of the things that really turned me off about it. And I think it's fixed now, but I was like, why would you? It's your exclusive game. Like you paid for this to be only on Xbox and PC, and it doesn't work on one of your exclusive platforms. I don't know.
Right. Which makes no sense.
So, no, those were really good. How the heck was Flight Sim in VR? I bet that's amazing.
Oh man. Yeah, depending on what you're flying, it's amazing. Sometimes like I don't know, sometimes it's like hard to see a little bit or like it can feel a little cramped. You get a little I get a little claustrophobic when I get that stuff on. And I also like I don't know, sometimes I'm like smacking my mic or something like that. I don't see what's right in front of me. I mean, but it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Think that's the way to play it. Like
Interesting.
if you can, if you can, if you have a PC that runs fairly good and you have Game Pass and you're thinking about getting a VR, remember certain games off of Game Pass have VR in it already. so you can play VR with them, like Flight Sim. Star Wars Squadron was another one that I played in VR. That was pretty fun. So just keep your eyes open. Look up some of the best games in VR, and then compare and contrast. Does Game Pass have any of these games? So I don't have to run out and buy them real quick. But not save yourself some money.
Well, we're going to talk about it later when we talk about PSVR 2. But I've had a kind of all of a sudden had a really big change of heart when it comes to VR. So what was your 2021 game of the year?
So I ended up narrowing down like 3 games that I really enjoyed.
Okay.
And they were all over the place towards the end of the year, but the 3 games, and I'm going to exclude Halo from this list completely.
Okay.
The 3 games I had was Scarlet Nexus, um, Far Cry 6, and then Psychonauts 2.
Okay.
Those were the 3 games that I had. I eliminated Far Cry 6 because of the way it ended.
Okay.
And then, so then left standing Psychonauts 2 and Scarlet Nexus. And I'm going with Scarlet Nexus because I don't think it got enough appreciation that it deserved from people.
I don't think you're alone
That
on
game, that game was fantastic. I loved every moment of that game. Only thing I think that would have made it stand out, like with its chest out, is if it had motion cutscenes. The cutscenes are like they start out in motion, but then it goes to like a still, and it like turns into like
almost like
a
the
comic book.
the comic book frames. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it turns into like a manga. So like if it would have had constant motion throughout the cutscene sequences, it would have been easily like A++ for me. But as of where it stands, it gets an A half a plus, and it beats out Psychonauts with that half a plus. But I'm not trying to throw any shade about Psychonauts because that game was absolutely insane.
I really
I
liked it as
thought
well.
the cutscenes, like in just the stuff that you hear throughout playing that game, it's just hilarious. Like when you're in the kitchen and you have to make stuff, like that is probably one of my favorite parts of that entire game. I thought for Double Fine, that was an absolute masterpiece for them. Really good, and I'm excited to see where they go from there because they got more projects coming in.
Yeah, yeah, and their studio head and director is amazing. His name escapes me at the moment, but that guy's
It's
really
Tim.
yes, Schaefer. You're right. Is really impressive. So that guy's mind is pretty incredible. Bob's Bottles and Psychonauts 2. That level just sticks with me because it was so emotionally impactful.
There's a lot of impactful spots, especially like for me was when you're going into that the like principal or whatever you want to call her head, and you have to like connect her thoughts.
Oh yeah.
That was freaking insane because you heard some pretty off the wall stuff when you connected certain thoughts together.
Well, and he realizes like the ramifications of what he's doing, and talks about it while you're zipping around in there. He's like, I'm like redirecting the way that she thinks about things. Like this is horrible. So,
Yeah.
really creative.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm really excited to see where they decide to take Double Fine. I mean, they got backing, they got hella backing with Xbox now compared to what they had not that long ago. They were thinking about taking the bosses out of the game because they couldn't afford it
Oh
until they got
yeah.
Xbox's backing and support on it. Then they threw that joint right back into the game and polished it up, hooked everybody up with a really good game.
Can you imagine what that game would be like with all that stuff stripped down, like just as it was, bare bones? Probably missing locations and taking levels out. I don't know. It was just so great the way it was. I couldn't imagine having it miss all those things. So mine was Death's Door, and it's not close. I really, really enjoyed that game.
Oh my goodness, yes, man. Everybody tells me about that game, and it's $20. I need to pick it up. I'm spending money left and right on all this other stuff, but Death's Door, I need to just. Every time I look at that game, I don't know what happens, but I panic and I don't get it.
I was really scared I wouldn't like it. Um, like top down Zelda style games aren't my thing.
Me neither.
At the time, people were really equating it to like a Dark Souls type thing with the way the combat is, and I don't think that's as much the case as people said it is. I'm kind of a Dark Souls guy now, so but I think it's just great. The combat is simple and really intuitive. The way the map is just masterful. The way you find the shortcuts to get back to where you were without, I don't know, everything. It's just super. You feel achievement and you feel just that's an awesome game. That's such a great
All that
game.
with a bird.
Yeah, yeah, and what looks like a lightsaber. That's crazy.
Right.
So
And it's not rare that I heard that either. Like I heard a ton of people call that their game of the year, and I was like puzzled. I was just like, how is this $20 game everybody's game of the year? Like it must be really good, but I keep choking right when I come up to it. I need to just pull that trigger, but I haven't.
do you have a game share buddy, Ham?
Um, I do not.
All right, well maybe we just need to become game share buddies, and then you can play it off me.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. We'll have to look into that a little bit later.
There you go. So now I have a question for you. Was your favorite game that you played this year also your game of the year, or was it maybe something out of the backlog that you got a chance to play that was your favorite game you played this year, or was Scarlet Nexus the best one?
So outside of like you're just saying like games in general, just like whatever game that I played, what was my favorite one that I got into this year?
Yeah.
If I'm hearing that right?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, so I mean there's a lot of games that I really enjoy playing like just randomly. As of lately of me just getting this Xbox, original Xbox, not the Xbox One, the very first Xbox
Yeah.
console,
OG.
is the Warriors. Warriors come out and play that Warriors.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, dude, really crazy game by Rockstar back in the day. Really, the Rockstar vibe. Back when they were making crazy games like Max Payne and Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City and all that stuff, they came out with a game called Warriors, and it's literally like the movie Warriors. You're playing as Rembrandt.
I just lost you.
Yeah, sorry. You're playing as Rembrandt, and you're literally playing the movie how it is, except just through that person's eyes. But you get to like jack stores and like steal and rob people and beat up like other gangsters from other gangs and whatnot. Like it is really cool. Um, let's see, another game that I just can't stop playing to this day is ESPN NFL 2K5.
Oh wow, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, dude. For the original Xbox, you can make your own stadium music with the music that you put onto your Xbox. Because you remember Xbox used to have that. Used to have that.
It
That
had
hard
the
drive inside
onboard
of it.
that you could like rip discs to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can rip music onto it, and then in the options menu of NFL 2K, you could customize your touchdown music, your like entrance, like intro to the stadium music, and like after game music. So like I used to like score a touchdown and like Tupac would come on every time, or like every time the game started, it would like Lil Wayne would come on or something like that. And I could like have specific songs at specific times to play that specific thing each time we scored. So like it was just insane, and they had first person football in that, and it was just so innovative for its time.
That's incredible. Oh man, that's so cool. We had uh, tons of nights of LAN Halo parties where we were just listening to metal and metalcore right through the Xboxes. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you
Yeah,
brought
and
that up.
it wasn't like a poor excuse for it either. It was like actual like when it ripped the music off, it ripped it off quality,
Right.
like quality mode. Like it sounded just like it would through your CD player. Like
Yeah.
it sounded awesome. So that is two of the three, and the third one is gonna be NFL Blitz, the league.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude,
Oh,
that's an old game where that was like I think that might have been one of the last blitzes to come out because they were not liking how just insane that game was in a inappropriate standpoint for football.
oh sure.
So they stopped making games like that. NFL Street was another one. I actually played that game not that long ago.
I played a
Oh, I'm
ridiculous amount of Street.
Dude, they even had FIFA Street, which I thought about buying, but I just wasn't sure what that would be like. Are you kicking people in the face and then stealing the ball, or like I'm not sure
No,
like
you
how that
just
game
slide into
works.
them and they don't cry like babies.
There you go. Like yeah, no one grabs their shin and just like passes out.
Yeah. Oh man, good
Got it. But
stuff.
yeah, that's my like kind of favorite games that I've been playing like other than trying to stay up with what's popular. Like those are like some of my comfort games. Retro games are my comfort because I know they were quality. I know what I liked. I know you enjoy it. It's that pretty little late night snack.
That's
It's what it
fantastic.
is.
I do not get into enough of it. Um, I played the original Perfect Dark this year on, yeah, obviously after, or I guess it was the end of last year, maybe beginning of this year, after finding out, at the Game Awards last year that's what was, or 2 years ago, that's what the initiative was working on. So I went to play the rare replay of it, and brought me back. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't hold up very well because it was
not at all. The laptop gun was the best gun in that game, though.
Yes, it was. Yes,
100%. I used to just play in what we had multiplayer mode back in the day, which was like just 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or I mean not 3-on-3, but threes or running fours versus each other. But yeah, man, it was a really cool time because because those guns were really advanced compared to GoldenEye, because GoldenEye was the hot game before Perfect Dark was the game, and like GoldenEye was really cool, but the guns were fairly traditional and really fun to play with. I mean, who can forget the PP7 or the Golden Gun, or the Klob? Like, dual wielding some of those guns were really fun. But when you could get a laptop gun and you could either shoot it or you could set it up as a turret, that changed the game, man.
Hey, absolutely, super fun. Man, you had me with GoldenEye stuff.
Nostalgia. Nostalgia.
So here, let's talk about. I wanted to give a little. If you're listening to this or watching it on YouTube here, and you like what you're hearing, please try to give the channel a like and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Come back for some more. We're going to have more on this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So looking forward now, coming into 2022, just of the games that we know about, what are you most excited for?
All right, so my most anticipated game is also a prediction that I kind of have that might sound weird. I'll do the prediction part later because that's, something that's going to be later. But as of right now, my most anticipated one is Starfield because I just don't know what it is yet. I mean, it's just kind of weird. It's kind of like, your parents tell you, hey, I got you a really good gift this holiday season. And you're just like, what is it? What is it? And they just leave you right there with that thought. That's exactly how I feel right now. And I'm a sucker for stuff like that.
And then they're going through and giving those 5-minute videos of the casino planet and, oh gosh, there was a few other ones too where they're giving these little dev diaries, and gosh, everything. The thought that Bethesda puts into their games is really unmatched. So I think Starfield is going to be really just an insane experience.
Well, if you think about Bethesda, there are very few games that don't still hold up now. I mean, how many dang copies of Skyrim is there? How many people are still playing all the different Fallout games? Wolfenstein looks amazing still. I mean, I went back and was playing New Blood. I believe that's what it's called. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that's what it's called. And I also played some of the least liked Wolfenstein game, which was the one with the two ladies. I forgot what it was called off the top of my head, but just even the least liked games on there look really good still at this point. And I understand some of them got FPS boost, and some of them, have been touched up throughout their times. But even like a year ago, just a year ago, before we got all these FPS boost stuff and whatnot, it still looked really freaking good running on the last generation consoles and whatnot. And these are some games that weren't all on, just some of them came from the 360 or before. So like, just to be able to look that good for this long makes you really kind of thirsty, maybe even hungry for what they got coming.
Well, and how scalable is Creation Engine and what they made Skyrim on? That you could put that thing on a refrigerator or a toaster or a potato, whatever. That'll run on anything, and it does. It's a good looking game.
So I'm I'm ready to eat the breadcrumbs as they come out. And I'm not the lore king of any like aspect. I'm not gonna ever follow anything tooth and nail because like then I start to not have as much fun with it. Like I like to just kind of like be like a surprise, like, oh snap, look what just popped up on YouTube today, or look what I just seen on Twitter. This is amazing. Let me dig into it and see if it's true because it's Twitter. Just to kind of see how they're kind of bit and piecing, throwing little, tasters out, little teasers here. It's just I like that kind of stuff. Not everybody does, but I do like that kind of stuff because it shows that you're trying to stay relevant, although you're not completely ready. So you're at least showing me that, hey, you still need to care about what's happening because we are putting forth this effort. And not only are we putting forth this effort, but we're also setting time aside to let you know that here's a little piece that we want to give you of this. How do you like the way this looks? What do you think about this? Like, to me, that makes a really good game because you're constantly keeping people interested.
Well, and we're gonna get a hype build for like a year for this game because they showed off the in-engine trailer at E3 last year. My guess is that this year we're gonna get the big Todd Howard walkthrough.
Oh,
And
it's got to
then
be. I mean, this is the year that it comes out. He has to do the walkthrough this year.
and it'll be insane. It'll be all Starfield. We're gonna get Redfall in the summer, but I think that's gonna be late summer, August or September.
Yeah, and I
But
think that
man,
I'm really excited for that game too, by Arcane.
yes, yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm like once they said like they could have just stopped after they said like Borderlands. Once they said like Borderlands, I was sold. I was just like,
Ham's
man,
in.
like because Borderlands is one of my all-time favorite Xbox games. Borderlands 2 specifically with Maya the Siren. She was just unstoppable in that game.
Yep, I was
One of my favorites.
a Mordecai the sniper in two. I like that game a lot.
Yeah, if you like sniping, there is just the amount of sheer guns that they had in that game was insane. But then like the way that you can use your guns in tandem with the powers that you have just made it just so addicting to kill the same type of enemy 80 freaking times and then go back and do it again and beat the game 4 freaking times and then wait for DLC to come out and and then get your character higher ranks or higher levels and whatnot. Like the game was just so replayable, and 3 was really good too. I don't think it was on the level of 2 for me personally, but I know for a lot of people it was. So
Yeah, it
it's
was a
cool.
game that I kept coming back to get to play all the DLCs. I just remember the trailer for the original game when they started talking about the procedurally produced guns. So, like the chance of you and anybody you ever ran into having the same weapon. Luckily, they came out with those exotics, and the exotics were always the same. But I thought it was cool that you could have an SMG that's also a rocket launcher, or and you're ripping those off, and then you launch a rocket downrange, and people are like, "Oh, what the."
Yeah, they got all these guns that look like firecrackers and slime and flame throwing and bomb and then grenades that turn into like 12 grenades.
Oh man.
No, it just looks like a freaking it just looks like a freaking bomb going off, man. It's just so cool. That game used to like I mean it still does a little bit, but especially on the older consoles, you can really get them frames down. You can really knock them frames down with, like, depending on who you're using. I specifically used to throw in like I have right now on Borderlands 3, I have a grenade, and I have this I have this grenade that makes everything just kind of run a little bit slower. On the Series X, it's not so bad, but like on the last system, it was pretty bad.
Oh, just
but I
because
have
of
this
particle effects and how it
yes,
fills the screen. Yeah.
Yep. I have this one gun though that if an Xbox One user gets into my game, I can immediately kick them. I just shoot the game. I shoot the gun 3 times and it'll crash their system.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny that you know that works every time.
I know it works every time because I crashed my own system like 3 times doing it, and then my buddy hopped into my party. I had the Series X at that time, and I was like, how much you want to bet I can crash your game? And he's like, I don't know how you think you'd crash your game. And I was like, is your game crashing? He's like, yeah, I just crashed. I was cracking up. I was just like, I told you I crashed your game, bro.
Oh, that's so good.
Dude, it like the gun will shoot, and like a blue flash will hit everybody's screen, and it will like lag even the Series X just a little bit. But lagging the Series X a little bit is lagging the Xbox One like completely.
Oh, that's where it just gives up. That's awesome.
So the first shot will lag you pretty rough, and then the last 2 shots will put you to sleep if you have an Xbox One.
Damn, that's awesome. Like, that's really funny.
Yeah, man. It was pretty cold-blooded, dude.
Oh, gosh. Let's see, where are we here? 2022 predictions. Give me your best, way too early prediction of 2022.
I think Starfield's going to get delayed.
Oh, man. After it being your most excited game for?
Yes, because that kind of stuff happens to me. I'll be really excited and really ready, and then something necessary will come around. It'll make me sit on my hands. And I tell you what, I say that because I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong so bad.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
But Todd Howard seems really, on the ball about. He seems really on the ball about being on 11/11/2022. That was the time, right? 11/11/2022.
That's right. And you know what makes me think that it's not going to get delayed is that like with I guess it was probably Fallout 4, right, where they showed the game and then were like, it's going to be out in 2 months. So I don't think they like releasing a release date until they know that it's ready. So my theory is that they gave it a 1 year, or I guess at that time it was 18 months away, because it's already done. And I think they're going to take 18 months to just make it insane. It's going to look great. It's going to run great. it should have at least probably a minimal amount of issues. That's my theory, anyhow. Um,
I, I like that positive thinking that you got, but like I'm nervous like that if it does come out on time, that it's gonna be broken one way or another, and it's not because of Bethesda or bug, as like people like to say now. It's not any. I'm not trying to bash anything. It's just it feels so normal, unfortunately, for games to come out partially done. So I think Starfield's gonna probably be delayed just because I think that people, when I say people, I mean like developers, are tired of putting out a game that isn't completely polished and done. And I feel like maybe they've got enough, you know, people disappointed about certain aspects of Halo not being done and ready for the kickoff that they might even delay Starfield just because they want to make sure every aspect is good. But the thing about Starfield that might not have to deal with that specific situation is I think it's single player. I think, I don't know exactly completely like if there's going to be any type of multiplayer aspect. I don't think there will be. And if there's not, it should be good from the get-go. But the way that the lay of the land has been kind of going as of lately, I just don't completely trust any developer other than maybe Insomniac. Yeah, maybe Insomniac. They're the only ones I completely trust to put out a game and it really not need any kind of touch up other than like a minor thing, or if they wanted to add like a ray trace 4K kind of thing, I mean, that came later on in Miles Morales, and that also came, I think, as like a day one patch for Ratchet and Clank, but or some sort of patch came out for Ratchet and Clank, I remember, but I don't know. I'm hoping that I'm wrong in every aspect of what I just said.
so for mine is, and I think this could go well with yours, is if they, for some reason, if they decide that, hey, Starfield's not ready, or, maybe we can just push it to the spring, I think they might have Wolfenstein 3 in their back pocket. Machine
Oh my
Games has
god.
been, I mean, essentially idle, right? To our perspective, other than showing that they're in pre-production for Indiana Jones, and maybe not even really what they call pre-production. Maybe it's just like Todd Howard's got a story and he's going to direct a game with Machine Games for killing Nazis. But I think if they're going to get started on that, within the year, I think Wolfenstein 3 is done or close to done. So
Man, that's interesting.
my way
That's
too
an
early.
interesting that's an interesting prediction for sure. Not something I would have thought you would have said.
Well, I hope I'm right, but I'm probably not. Maybe it's more wishful thinking than something that I want.
Hey, a prediction's a prediction. You can be wrong.
No doubt. You're right. A prediction is a prediction, and I know it's a bold one for sure. All right. Well, I have a few just kind of off the wall topics here before we get out of here. Um, PlayStation just showed off the PSVR 2, and it.
What in the steering wheel are those are those handles? What in the hell are those things? Those things look weird.
Yeah, yeah.
They look like two steering wheels that you hold.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big VR guy, and the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I was listening to the most recent version episode of oh man, of course it's gonna escape me now. With Gaz and Asa and all them. What is that?
Oh,
Game
Games on
on,
Daily?
yeah, Games on Daily
Game
Live.
on Daily.
They had their episode on Saturday with
Yeah, with
King
Dave,
David,
King David and Fonzarelli. Yep.
and King David was talking about how if there's anybody with the kind of games that they make that can drive something like VR into being a mainstream thing, it's Sony. And he was like, and King David is a huge Xbox guy, and a big Game Pass guy, and he's really kind of um, been holding Sony against the coals for the kind of stuff they've been doing lately. Stuff that I don't even really think is bad all the time, but so for him to say that, I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like if they can get the Uncharted experience, the Horizon experience, the the Spider-Man experience of into a VR, like they'll really have something, and not just like the Iron Man game where you basically just, I'm sure there was objectives in it, and I'll be honest, I never played it, but I think for the most part it was just like, this is what it's like to fly around as Iron Man. And I don't mean to make that not sound cool, because it is, but it's not that big AAA VR experience. But I think if there's anybody that can really bring that, it's Sony. And that's why, I think maybe they're starting out with this Call of the Mountain from Horizon. But my hope would be that, within not a very long period of time, they announce that, Ragnarok with Fire Sprite or whoever is going to help them, would have VR support. Because I don't know if there'd be much things that sound a lot cooler than slinging fire blades at goons as Kratos in VR. So
Sounds dope.
right?
I mean, like the PlayStation VR 2, like I'm excited for it, but I'm not at the same time. And like I have a VR, I have an Oculus. I feel like this is a super uphill battle for PlayStation, and that they are, I'm not sure if they're testing the market or if they know what they have is a banger, because the specs that they have for that PlayStation VR is insane. 4K,
Yeah.
OLED screen, HDR. I mean, that's, my Oculus was like 250. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but like, I mean, I think what I have is a good deal, but like, you look at some of these other like um other VR headsets that are like $600, $700. They don't even have those specs.
Yeah. And something
So like,
something Asa brought up in that same episode was he feels like they really cut a crucial cost, that he feels like might not have been the best move, and there's no in-ear or over-ear audio with the PSVR. So you're either going to be wearing this VR headset, listening to your TV speakers, or plugging in headphones to the thing somewhere. But he feels like it would have been better if it came with some kind of hardware based spatial audio solution.
well, they did say, I do remember they did say that it's gonna have the integration with 3D audio.
Gotcha.
So I'm assuming that the headset that you have paired with your console that runs wireless currently will be the one that goes over your head with the VR on.
Maybe
That's
they
what I
just
assume.
maybe they just thought about
So
that if you get the PS5 headset, you could just use the Tempest audio.
yeah, it's just
And
it's just another piece to the puzzle.
they've kind of built that to where that headset will fit over it. Because that's what I'd worried about, is wearing a big, bulky, like, over ear headset over this VR headset and having that work out.
You know, I wear a rig. What is it called? Let me see real quick. A Rig 800 LS or something like that. I have one of those headphones that I wear over my Oculus, and it doesn't bother me not a bit. It's actually a Xbox One dash PC headset,
Oh, cool.
so it looks like similar to like your Arctis kind of headsets, or you know, just your regular aftermarket fairly nice headset, right? It was $150.
I gotcha.
And yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problem with that. So I don't see anybody having any issues as long as they have a wireless headset that has a dongle that plugs into the PS5. It'll be it'll be fine. But my kind of question for PlayStation with VR right now is just like, how confident and what does your other games look like? Like what's your long-term plan for this? Because it's cool if you have, you know, Horizon and, you know, maybe a few other games. They're going to be big sellers, but for how long? You know what I mean? And like, how long are you going to be like actually caring about this? Because PlayStation has kind of a reputation for dropping something premium, something that everybody likes, and then ignoring it.
Interesting.
Like the Vita or
Oh,
PSP,
yeah.
and like consoles like that were like a side thing. It was like the side, you know, mistress that you're with that you really liked, you really enjoyed, and it's supposed to, you know, like your main knows about the mistress and they're cool with it only if you know you go about like abide these parameters, and if you don't go outside these parameters then it's cool. But then, you know, like the PSP was supposed to, or the PS Vita was supposed to connect with the PS4, and you know you're supposed to continue to be able to play after you leave and play the same game as long as you had, you know, a copy of that game and a copy of the Vita game or whatnot. But like, I mean, look where we're at, and look how many people are still doing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And the Switch really took over that whole sit down at your TV and play and then pick up and go. Switch stole that and ran with it hard, and they're way better at it. And so it kind of felt like PlayStation just kind of dropped it and just kind of like left it be. And I mean, how big was the PlayStation VR, the original one?
We're at what,
Like
6 million units and 120 million PS4s.
yeah, you know, I mean, it's such a minute, you know, I mean, it's still a lot of money when you think about it. That's a lot of money. I mean, if I had that kind of money in my life right now, I'd be set for the rest of my life. But
Yeah, but I look at it in the way of percentage of your install base bought into your product.
yeah, and that's nothing. That's nothing.
Right.
So like, I'm just wondering, because they're making this thing really premium. It seems to have really cool things that it's going to be able to do with the console in tandem, but with an Oculus only being 200 to 250. I wonder how they're going to price this thing. I wonder if it's going to be $400 or $500, because if it's that, then it's getting beat out by the Oculus price wise. And yeah, you may get that experience, that cooler experience with PlayStation, but your average family is looking to save money and get a similar experience. Not always the exact premium same experience, but they want a similar experience for a price that everybody can kind of, be cool with. And I just kind of feel like Sony might price themselves out of the comfort zone of your average consumer. I mean, of course, it's going to sell really well for the enthusiasts. But if I know a business, they don't care about enthusiasts. Enthusiasts will always be there.
Is that enough to make your business successful?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if Android or if Samsung or iPhone only went after the enthusiasts, they wouldn't have sold near as much. But they make things very easy for your average consumer, which makes your average consumer really happy. Yeah, it's starting to get more premium and more expensive, but those average consumers have been paying a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more for a little while, that now they don't even, they don't even notice the difference. When you bring in something random like a VR that's not a console, it's a VR and you still need the console. That is what turning a $500 system into almost $1,000 system.
Right.
Yeah, try to go ask your mom for that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
sure.
I understand, like I would go buy something like that. You would go buy something like that. A lot of the fans that cap on Twitter will go buy something like that. But like,
Not sure
the
your relevant
person that's
audience.
the person that's not on Twitter, that has no idea about how
Yeah. They play one
people
or two
feel
games
about
a
it,
year.
but their favorite console is PlayStation, they're still probably not going to buy that.
For sure.
They're going to be like, "Oh, that looks cool. I played it at my buddy's house. Pretty dope.
Yeah.
Not for me."
Does this work with Warzone?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does this work with Fortnite?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that is the way that a lot of people think. And, like, the Oculus is very uniform. And if Xbox decides to step into the ring, they're not. I highly doubt Xbox is going to go out of their way to make their own VR. They might, but what they would do, I believe, is go the Android route and make third-party VRs work as well. Kind of
Right.
like they're kind of doing right now with cloud gaming. It's like,
Yeah, and even
you don't have an
PC.
Xbox, no problem. You can still play.
Right.
Like, as long as you're using our services and like, you can get Game Pass through this, as long as you're giving us our monthly, payment, we don't care what you use it on. But Sony is the opposite. They're like, you must get our hardware to use our services.
And I think they're going to get dragged kicking and screaming into that. I mean, they already are with the way PC is. So
With
right.
PC, with the cloud gaming thing, and yeah, dude, they are doing a really good job at being Sony, but I'm not sure if they're doing a very good job at being transparent and ready for the future of the world. Not the future of Sony, but the future of the rest of the world.
Yeah, right. No, I agree. I think on that, man, I have run almost out of gameplay here. So I am going to let you tell people where they can find you. Give out your handles and whatever you'd like. And just thank you so much for being here. It really meant a lot to me to be able to have you on And
Yeah, man, let's keep this
games.
going. There's always topics to talk about. And, you know, even if there isn't any news, we can still talk about experiences within games and stuff that we need to check out, and maybe something I mean, I'm not sure if you ever heard of that Chef's Love Shack game before, and
No, I never.
I don't know if you ever played the Warriors, but there's a couple games that you can look up and be like, what the F is this? And, you know, I mean, there's always something to like talk about or mention or gripe about or yada yada. But anyways, you can find me HamSolo05 Gaming on Twitter. On YouTube, you can find me at TSWS Gaming. They said, we said. But when you type it in on YouTube, it has to be TSWS Gaming. There's a little world and it says TSWS Gaming, yada, yada, yada. But I do a regular show on there called Behind Them Sticks, where I have all sorts of different gamers around the world come on and chat it up about who they are, what they enjoy, what they see coming, yada, yada, yada. But it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot about the people that you're following and also people that you may want to follow. So definitely check that out. That is, for the most part, where you can find.
Yeah, Behind Them Sticks is such a great show. So, all right. Well, yeah. If you liked what you heard today, we're gonna make more of it. We talked in the green room before the show about how we like talking and want to keep this going and making content. So those are our intentions. But have an awesome week, and make sure you slap that like and subscribe button. And we'll talk soon, friend.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.